Two really good games in the PWHL as teams start to fight for those valuable points, and we start to see some surprising rivalries between teams that are close in the standings. We've got a battle for first place in Minnesota as Montreal is in town, and if they can win in regulation, they will take over first spot. Anyway, 16 minutes in, Montreal has a good chance in front. They keep it in the zone, and it's over to Laura Stacey, who fires from above the circle, and it looks like Hensley was screened, and it's 1-0 for Montreal. That's a great sign for them, as last time they visited in Minnesota, they didn't get a goal at all, as they were blanked 3-0. Last time these two teams played, it was Grace Zumwinkle notching a hat trick, and she is all over the ice tonight early on. She gets a nice pass here from Heise, and looks like she hits the post. Early on, shots are 8-3 for Minnesota. Not long after that, it's a 3-on-1 for Minnesota's top line as Heise, Krzyzova, and Zumwinkle break in. Heise tries to pass to Zumwinkle, and that play goes for naught. It's been all Minnesota, but Montreal does end up with great pressure towards the end of the period. For about the last minute and a half, the Kennedy Marchment, Stacey, and Kristen O'Neill line has a lot of chances. Minnesota can't get it out, but the buzzer ends, and it's 1-0 for Montreal. They'll be happy to take that, and Chuli's been great so far. Early on in the second period, we've got a penalty on Dominika Leskova for Montreal for a hook to the hands of Liz Sheppers again, who's having a good game. Both of these teams, even though they're at the top of the standings, actually have the worst power plays in the league. So Minnesota on the power play, and it's Krzyzova and Zumwinkle again with a great shot and then a scrum after the whistle, but Chuli looks strong. And there's a big collision here with Taylor Heise running into Jillian Dempsey, and it looks accidental, but Heise is definitely shaken up as she goes to the bench. You don't want to see your number one draft pick getting hit like this, even if it is by accident, and there will be more of that to come. Another great chance for Minnesota as Panik goes hard to the net and draws the penalty call on Anne-Sophie Bataille, power play to Minnesota. On that power play, Taylor Heise ends up taking another big hit, and it's Marie-Philippe Poulin giving her what looks like a hip check, but it's Minnesota is out-shooting and out-chancing Montreal. They do not score on the power play, but very shortly afterwards, we've got Liz Sheppers again coming in off the wall here. A great play, and it's Michaela Cava with her first goal in the PWHL, and we are tied. Things are looking tense. Shortly after that, Montreal draws its own power play, but they strangely have the worst power play in the league with all the talent they have. Going into this, they're 1 for 20, which is a clean 5%, not what you want to see. So Heise definitely getting some physical punishment during this game. But this time it's Minnesota who finish out the period with a great flurry, and late in the period Heise gets a great shot, but things remain tied as we head into the third period. A penalty to Montreal puts Minnesota back on the power play, but not long into it, it's actually Taylor Heise who looks a little frustrated and actually takes a penalty herself, so we're going to go 4-on-4. With more open ice, nothing really happens, neither team has the advantage. And when Heise comes out of the box, she quickly gets a good chance on goal. Zumwinkle seems to be trying for that high blocker shot. She tries it not once, but twice, and Chuli says no. This feels like a playoff game, if you can say that this early on into a brand new season of a brand new league. Montreal has played some really solid D, and they've made small plays clearing the puck. But again, goaltending is the biggest difference, and Chuli looks really, really good in this game. Just past the midway point, and Teresa Vanishova takes a bad penalty. She's going to go to the box and give Minnesota a chance to get the game-winning goal. Now getting late in the third, and Montreal throws the puck in deep. Chasing it down, Maureen Murphy, and as Nicole Hensley comes out to play it, she can't seem to get her stick on it. She's skating back to her net when Murphy throws a shot towards her. It bounces out to none other than Vanishova, who scores her very first goal in the league, and it's a huge goal. At this point, Montreal is being outshot 39-22, so Elaine Chuli is just having a great game. Erin Ambrose takes a weird penalty, actually called body checking, sending Minnesota to a crucial power play. Montreal is able to kill off that penalty. We're watching for Minnesota to pull the goalie, and the first line stays out. Montreal gets the puck in deep, and look at Maureen Murphy go to work. She kills about 10 to 15 seconds here on her own with that forecheck. Minnesota is not able to get another great play in the offensive zone, and that's the final buzzer. It's 2-1 for Montreal, and with the 3 points, they take over first place in the league. Celebration for Elaine Chuli, who has just a great game, makes 41 saves. So a tight game in Minnesota, and Montreal walks away the victors. And a battle of two teams that are really close in the race. Boston visiting in Ottawa, and look who's here, no one but the Prime Minister putting on the Ottawa jersey before the game, presented by Captain Brianne Jenner. And making her first start for Ottawa is Sandra Abstreiter. It's a big night for backup goalies in big, important games. And it's a homecoming for Jamie Lee Rattray, and she's got family in the crowd, as well as a minor league hockey coach. Here, Megan Keller gets a great shot off, and Abstreiter makes a save without a stick. Michaela Grant-Mentis gets a great chance here, and that's saved by Frankel. She's elevated to the second line tonight with Becca Gilmore out with an illness. But here we'll get a penalty called to Ottawa's Katarina Mrazova, and that's called roughing, which she does not agree with. But to the box she goes, and Boston goes to the power play. And Alina Mueller gets on the board with her first goal. A sneaky seeing eye shot with Hannah Brandt in front. It looks like she's almost interfering with the goalie. I'm not sure if the Boston coaching staff had a look at that. But Mueller with a great shot. Exciting for Mueller to get on the board, as she has already tallied 5 assists. Daryl Watts, though, with a good night for Ottawa. She gets a great scoring chance here. Just after that, we get a 2-on-1 with Sophie Shirley, and there she finds hometown girl Jamie Lee Rattray for her first goal, and what better place for her to score it. Lots of celebration in the crowd for her, and she is happy to pick up her first goal. And meanwhile, Abstreiter appears to be hurt on the play. She's trying to stretch out after that save. It looks like maybe a groin pull or strain. After talking to her training staff, she decides it's better to come to the bench. And Emirates Mashmeyer has to come in after playing just the night before. So far, though, Boston has looked more structured and playing on the same page than they did in their first few games. They look like they're going to be a threat, so Boston-Ottawa, another kind of surprising rivalry. And one of the hidden gems so far for Ottawa has been defender Ashton Bell. She's got great confidence carrying the puck here. You can see that she's underrated as a skater. She used to be a forward. Bell gets the shot off here. Brianne Jenner gets a good chance here, and Frankel is there to make the save. The shots are starting to even up for Ottawa, and Katarina Mrazova makes a great skill move here as she breaks in on the Boston net. Ottawa's pressing. It's 4-0 for chances so far in the first 7 minutes. Savannah Harmon, who of course has been Becky Keller's defense partner, gets a great chance against her for Ottawa. And then a bit of a weird one as Boulier gets a shot off, and Gigi Marvin almost tips it in on Frankel, who looks a little surprised by that one. But luckily that didn't go in.
Frankel's able to hold on.
Ottawa's fourth line gets in on the action with scoring chances, and it looks like it's just a matter of time. And sure enough, the surprising goal scorer is Kristen Delarovere, who is back in the lineup tonight. She gets a little tip in front, and Ottawa is on the board. Prime Minister Trudeau is happy with this one.
Justin Trudeau, huge clap to that excitement, Kenzie.
And then here we have a big hit on Boulier. It looks like a little bit of an elbow to the head by Taylor Wenskowski. The refs want to take a look at this, and they do. It's not a great-looking hit, but Boulier is a bit of a smaller player, and they decide no further discipline is in order. It's just a 2-minute call.
Head down as she's looking at the puck, and that is head contact. No.
They continue to put the pressure on, and the rebound comes here to Lexi Agia, who scores. What a great surprise she's been. It's her 3rd goal of the season, and she has points in every game for Ottawa. She's on a point streak, and she's just become a fan favorite and is getting elevated in the lineup. So the game is tied 2-2 in the 3rd period. It's going to be a nail-biter. About midway through the third, there's a big chance here for Gabby Hughes. She's had some great chances, and Boston wants her out of there. Gigi Marvin pushes and shoves. Gabby Hughes gives it right back. You love this stuff. What a rivalry. This looks like an even better rivalry for these two teams than each of them has with Montreal. And later in the month, they're going to play back-to-back because of that rescheduled game. But with under a minute remaining, here's a big turnover by Savannah Harmon up the middle. Goes right to Alina Mueller. She shows great patience, fakes a shot, sends it in, and it is put home by Teresa Schaffsal, and Boston against the run of play, and it's 3-2 for Boston. They look like they might take this one home. The crowd is stunned. Schaffsal is thrilled, and look at the great play by Mueller. She's got great patience here. Unfortunately, the turnover by Harmon is a costly one. Ottawa desperately trying to tie the game, but they can't get it done. It finishes 3-2, the favorite score right now in the PWHL. And this is a huge win for Boston as they stay right in the thick of the standings. And this is going to be a great rivalry to watch going forward. Great game in the nation's capital. We got to look forward to the rematch. And next up, there was an important game in Toronto with New York coming to town. This is the third time these teams have played, and it looks like right now they're both towards the bottom of the standings. Toronto desperate for a regulation win in this one, and they're going to be facing the league's leading scorer, Alex Carpenter, and the league's leading goaltender in Corinne Schroeder. With a save percentage of .949, she is on top right now. But Kristen Campbell for Toronto is coming off a confidence boost when she won with her team in the shootout. Early on in the first period, though, Toronto's Maggie Connors takes a penalty, and it's New York to the power play. They actually have the second best power play in the league going into this game, with a success rate of 4 for 15. But Toronto has a good PK, and one of the reasons is Emma Malte. You can see her. She just hounds the puck and is able to drive the player to the boards. Good for her. She's moved down in the lineup, but she knows her role. And there's been a lot of focus on the defense pair of Renata Fast and Jocelyn The Rock for Toronto. It actually looks like maybe the coaching staff has worked on simplifying things. Fast has a good clear here. But New York's Jade Downey Landry goes to the box, and Toronto's power play will get a chance. They were 1 for 19 going into this, but the one goal they did score was against New York in the game that they won. Only Montreal had a worse power play at this point than Toronto, and they got a couple of decent chances. But as soon as that power play was over, New York turned it around and came up ice, getting a few great shots in on goalie Kristen Campbell. But so far so good, and Toronto's out shooting them 7-4. But it's back to special teams in this first period as Emma Malte takes a bad penalty for boarding here, and New York's power play that's firing at 25% gets a chance. But Toronto's penalty killing is second in the league, so they're able to kill off yet another one. So Toronto is out shooting New York, but a lot of their shots are coming from the outside. They're driving hard along the boards, but not getting inside position. On to the second period, where again they're just trading chances with Toronto getting the bulk of the shots. And once again, we're going to look at Renata Fast with a great defensive play on Alex Carpenter.
I was looking for a battle there. There's no question about it. We've seen Carpenter fight for inside position all game long, and Renata Fast ain't going to give up inside position.
So the second period didn't have a lot of high-event hockey, but there was a little bit of pushing and shoving, and things started to get a little bit nasty with some of the net front battles. On this play, it's actually both defensemen, Renata Fast and her partner Jocelyn The Rock, who are up in the play and get a good chance in on Corinne Schroeder.
Is able to get that puck from below the goal line, just throw it to the net, and that's her defense partner up in the play trying to put that second shot in, and Corinne Schroeder holds.
Then we have a turnover along the boards, and Hannah Miller is able to feed it over to Natalie Spooner, who drives hard to the net and puts Toronto on the board with a big goal. Late in the second period, and Natalie Spooner has just been the GOAT for Toronto so far. It's a strong move, and she pulls it to her backhand, slips it between the legs of Corinne Schroeder for her fourth goal of the season.
tee with her 4th goal of the year.
Late in the second, Toronto has another power play, but it is actually canceled out. 4-on-4 hockey might open things up a little bit. Emma Malte breaks in a 2-on-1 with Maggie Connors, but I think the pass was a little bit easy to read, and Corinne Schroeder cleans that up nicely. Shortly after, it's Natalie Spooner again with a chance very similar to her goal and gets an extra shot off in the 4-on-4 before the end of the second period. So it's on into the third where Toronto is hanging on to their 1-0 lead, and New York's Emma Woods gets a really nice chance here. Once again, Renata Fast is noticeable as she gets a strong offensive move this time and tries to bank it off the goalie's pads to get a rebound, but it wasn't to be. But to me, she simplified the game and looking a lot better. Again, she is a breakout machine. Nurse hands her the puck and she's able to skate it in deep for her team. We have a penalty to Abby Rock that she's complaining about because a lot of that has been let go, as Cheryl Pounder commented. Some of the games have been a lot more hard-hitting, and this game hasn't, so that one wouldn't normally be called. But that one is called illegal contact. So back to the power play for Toronto. Fast with a nice pass to Comfer and Turnbull, who's desperately trying to get that first goal. She gets a couple of nice chances here, but it's Schroeder, and New York cleans it up. Just before the end of the power play, though, we've got Natalie Spooner at the side of the net with a bit of a broken play as she shoots it on net and it comes right back off the backboards. She's quick enough to grab it and put it in. That's her 5th goal and obviously her 2nd of the night. She is just a power forward, and if you look at the timeline of when she gave birth, she's basically mother of a 1-year-old and just right now the top scorer on this team. So New York tries to get back in the game. No real danger chances until the end. They go ahead and pull the goalie, but Toronto's defense and high slot danger protection is a lot better this game. And there it is, their first home win of the season. Kristen Campbell with the first ever shutout. Natalie Spooner was the first star of the game with those 2 goals. And Toronto's got to feel good that they are going to move up in the standings in that battle with New York for a playoff spot. Yet another close game, and another game where goaltending comes up big. 2-0 win for Toronto at home. The league is really tight right now. Every game is huge, and it's going to continue that way. We appreciate you checking us out. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the Puck Drop podcast and in the next one.